Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to talk about some horror and thriller recommendations for the month of October. I am taking part in two challenges slash readathons this month, the Spook-a-thon and the Friday Fright-A-Thon, and I just kind of wanted to recommend some books that you guys can maybe check out for those, especially if you're doing a themed reading month this month. The first two books that I'm going to mention are graphic novels. The first one is one of my all-time favourites, and that is Lock and Key by Joe Hill. This book is incredible. It's a great series. The first one particularly is really good. So is the second, when the villain actually shows up. What happens in this one is that a family goes to a new house, which is on the cover, and in this house they start discovering keys which do different things. Some of them turn you into ghosts, some of them let you go through portals, some of them make you a lot bigger, like a giant, and it's just really good. It's really dark, so I would go into it cautiously. Trigger warnings for like murder, assault, rape, all sorts of stuff. It's disgusting, but it's really good. I'd highly recommend it. The next one is Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, which isn't quite so dark. It's a lot more tame. It's a collection of 4 or 5 short stories, and I really enjoyed it. I loved the first story so much, but then after that it kind of got a little bit worse. But I really liked the art style. Like, some of these were just lovely. Like, look at that. That's freaking creepy. The next books I'm going to recommend are all YA, starting off with thrillers. The first one is People Like Us. This one is set in a boarding school. I did a whole wrap up on this book because I really enjoyed it. One of the students at this boarding school is murdered, and the bisexual main character is trying to figure out who did it. I didn't see the ending coming. I knew who had done the murder, but I didn't know about the rest of it, so I was really shocked by this one. The next one is also set in a boarding school, and this one is All These Beautiful Strangers. I've done a whole review on this one if you want to go and check it out, but basically this is set in 2 timelines. In the first, the main character, Charlie, her mother, has gone missing. She's been missing for ages, and she wants to figure out what happened to her. In the other timeline, it's flashbacks to when Charlie's mother was younger and what happened there. It's really well done. I did prefer the flashbacks to the present day stuff, but it was really good. The next one is Far From You by Tess Sharp. I mentioned this in a couple of other videos as well. This is a YA thriller with a bisexual main character who's also suffering from PTSD. Her girlfriend is killed in what looks like a drug deal gone wrong, but the main character isn't having any of that and she wants to find out what happened to her. The next one is Choker by Elizabeth Wood. I'm sure I had a copy of this somewhere, but I don't know where it's gone. I read this years ago when I first started BookTube, so back in like 2010, 2011. I don't know if it would still hold up nowadays because I've read so many thrillers since then, but I remember the twist of this one being so good, and the story is just really well written. I fangirled with this one with Raylene, if anyone remembers her. She kind of stopped doing BookTube a couple of years ago. But yeah, we bonded over this book, so it was really good. The next ones are all YA horror, and the first one is Devils Unto Dust. This one came out this year. It's about zombies and it's set in the south. The next one is The Forest of Hands and Teeth by Carrie Ryan. This one is also about zombies. This one's set in the forest. I remember thinking this first book was quite average, but I really liked the other 2 books in the trilogy. But I have a feeling that nowadays I would prefer the first book to the other 2. The next one is Cirque du Freak by Darren Shan. This is one of my all-time favourite book series. I love it so much. It's a series of 12 short books and it's about vampires. The next ones are all adult books, starting off with the adult thrillers. The first one is The Couple Next Door by Shari Lapena. This is about a couple who are at dinner at their neighbour's house. They leave their baby next door because that's a smart thing to do, and the baby goes missing, so the whole mystery is about what happened to the baby. The next one is that one that I only read this year, and that is Still House Late by Rachel Kane, and it's fantastic. It's absolutely brutal and gory and dark and disturbing, but it's amazing. In the first chapter, the main character discovers that her husband has been murdering young women, and this has all been happening under her roof in the garage, and it's just really well done. So good. Then there's The Ice Twins. I don't really remember much about this one. I know that it's set up in the north, like maybe in Scotland, which made the atmosphere really creepy. It's about creepy twins, like what more do you need to know? Then there's Child 44 by Tom Rob Smith. This one is a little bit different. It's more historical. It's set in Russia just after World War II, and someone is killing young girls or young children. Either way, it's really well written. I really enjoyed it. The Dry by Jane Harper, which I read this year for the last 24-hour readathon that I did, and it was incredible. This one's set in Australia during the drought, which is still happening now. The detective goes back to his hometown because his best friend supposedly killed his entire family and then himself. So the detective is looking into this case, and it's so well done. I love Jane Harper's writing. She's coming out with a new book this month in Australia, and I'm going to see if I can get the ebook or maybe look on Book Depository and get the physical copy because I'm dying to read more from her. Force of Nature, her other book, was also really good, but this one was far superior. The Girl in 6E, which is more of a thriller slash erotica. It's about a woman who's a cam girl, and one day she realises that one of her clients has done something bad. And also Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson, which was turned into a film, which wasn't very good, but this book is about someone who has short-term memory loss. So every time she goes to sleep, she forgets what happened the previous day and her mind kind of reverts back to a few years ago before she was in this accident that caused her to lose her memory. It's really, really well done and it gave me big goosebumps and I just loved it. The last few adult thrillers that I'm going to recommend are all by Gillian Flynn, who I can't do this video without mentioning. So I'm leaving out Gone Girl because everyone has read that. Here we have Dark Places, Sharp Objects and The Grown Up, which is a novella. This one is really fucking creepy. I could not sleep after I read this. I've reread it a couple of times since and it's still just as creepy. I don't really want to go into what it's about, but there's a creepy child and he scares me. Sharp Objects was recently turned into a TV series. I haven't actually watched it yet, but I'm planning to very soon in the month of October because I love this book so much. It's also got a creepy child in it, actually. Dark Places, which is my favourite book of Gillian Flynn's. I thought this one was incredible. I loved it so much. And I'm so sad that the movie adaptation has not done this book justice because this is so, so good. And finally, the last two books that I'm going to recommend are adult horror. The first one is a little bit different and that is We Need to Talk About Kevin. This is actually more of a contemporary, but it's about a guy who shoots up a school and another creepy child, and it's like the Daily Mail says, it's really powerful and it creeped me out. It's just generally horrific and I would recommend reading it. And the last one is The Cabin at the End of the World, which is one that I also reviewed on my channel. If you want to go and check out that review, that would be great. This one is about two guys and their daughter. They're at a lakeside cabin on holiday and one day a group of people show up and tell them the world is going to end unless they make a sacrifice and it's up to them to save it. And basically this book is suspenseful and gory and grim. After reading it, I still don't know the truth. I have so many questions still and I just really loved it. So those are all my recommendations for you if you would like a spooky October. Please let me know in the comments below if you have any recommendations. I would love to check them out because I'm still currently working on my Spook-a-thon TBR, so any recommendations you can give me would be great. Thanks again for watching and I'll speak to you all in my next video. Bye!